Well, moving on, the next story is Exeter Gender Identity Clinic only assessed 2 new patients in 2020. And this is based on a Freedom of Information request made by, I believe it was a trans person, into the Laurel's Exeter Specialist Gender Identity Clinic here in the UK. And what that request revealed is that the service had only assessed 2 patients out of the 495 referred to them in 2020. Now, one thing I have to be absolutely clear on here, because there's been a lot of misreporting about this case, this number does not factor in those referred to the service prior the 1st of December and how many of them are seen. So it could have been the service was full and those users are still using the service, only 2 free slots opened up and those are the ones who were assessed. I do need to note that because again, like different sites are reporting that the clinic overall only saw 2 people the entire year. That's not true. That's not what happened. It's still abysmal. Don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying that, but there is a nuance there that's needed for clarity. They did not say how many people they actually saw with their service over the year. And again, it's still deeply disturbing, especially considering that there are 2,592 people waiting for their first appointment. The Freedom of Information request also noted that, quote, 14 have subsequently been discharged, end quote. And the thing is, what this means is not very clear. I'm not sure if this is 14 on top of the 2 that were seen, that have been seen and discharged, or if this is something else like they've just left or whatever. It doesn't make that clear, so it could potentially be that they've assessed 16 people. Either way, still not good when they've had 495 referred to them. It certainly shows that there is this massive chasm between the gender services being offered by the NHS and the need for gender services in the UK. This is particularly bad considering the Tavistock Gender Identity Clinic has effectively been shut down right now, especially when it comes to young people. So yeah, the whole thing is just going to hell. The report also disclosed that the current longest waiting time, and I'm saying current because it's probably going to get longer, for a first appointment is 2,092 days, or just shy of 6 years. Far higher than like the wait times that we've been seeing thrown around of, 3 to 4 years. So yeah, it's an incredibly troubling sight. That is not a train, that is a car. I'm surprised, I haven't heard the train today. The train does not say hi.
Aw.
The service responded to the Freedom of Information request, because they're allowed to do that, by stating that there's been a sharp rise in the referrals and that they've made several changes to try and meet new demand. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully this is just like a once-off wave of people joining because they're afraid like these services are vanishing or whatever, and they will like start processing from this year more of the new people as they get people through. But again, it's just a really scary. I just read a message that I just laughed at. That's really inappropriate there, a really inappropriate point. But yeah, it's a very scary time for everyone in the UK. And again, it just shows that the whole idea of the trans conspiracy controlling everything is completely bogus. Like, if that was the case, shit like this wouldn't happen. And I went to actually check the reviews for the clinic, because you can review clinics on Google. And there are people in the reviews talking about how they've literally just dropped off, decided to go private, and the reason that they're noting that they've actually dropped out is because they don't want to hold up anyone else that needs to use the service. It's kind of depressing that that's the state of thing, that some trans people are tapping out and taking other means just in hopes that other trans people can get these services when everyone should be able to get them on the fucking NHS. But yeah. This is from Shakira. Oh, a message, yes. Thanks to all of EOT, Udita, Levi, and Ethel. Thank you very much. Yeah. So thanks very much. And I can see the earlier post. If only it was all about foxes, which is reference, I believe, to a meme that I posted in Essence of Community shortly before we started. Oh, did that just double the donation? Apparently we've got another super chat. I do not know. Sometimes it repeats the super chat. Sometimes it shows up twice. I don't know why. But yes, so thank you. Either way. Yeah, I think it was just a repeat. Okay, thank you very much anyway. So yes. Okay, let's check the times. 43. Okay, so the next story is Graham Linehan is
hang
invited.
on. Just before we get to the next story, I do actually have something to say about this one.
Okay, sorry. Go on.
I just want to remind people, we're talking about how there's all these trans people who need the service, and very few people getting the service. It's very, very easy to feel like it's just think there are too many trans people. Like, even logically, we know there aren't that many trans people. It's easy to feel that way when we hear the story. So just want to remind everyone that trans people are like, what, less than 3% of the population, even with a very generous estimate. If we can meet the demand for things like, knee surgery and nose jobs and penicillin and insert random medical whatever here, we can meet the demand for trans people.
Well, you say but this is the NHS that is currently being gutted by the government. But some services are being stripped back faster than others. Trans services have come under particular scrutiny, as we've seen with like the High Court case of Tavistock and everything like that. The attempts to block Gender GP, who I should just note is one of the people that kind of like misreported on this story, and because there's an economic incentive there for them, like Gender GP is a wonderful service and it's helping a lot of trans people get HRT in the UK, which they can't do from other places, but they are still ultimately a company, so usual warning of capitalism applies here.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying the gutting of the NHS has nothing to do with this, but I'm saying, like, when it comes to services that cannot meet the demand, and when it comes to, like, it would not be that hard to meet the demand of trans. I don't imagine it would be that hard to meet the demand for trans services compared to some services, which are, of course, much more numerous. I feel like with the explicit targeting of trans services, there is a bit of a targeting of trans services going on here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There definitely is.
I think like the lawsuit tipped me off, and the thing with the prescriptions tipped me off. Just a very subtle targeting of trans services going on here.
Because they're not just going after like the public services like the NHS, they're also going after the private to try and stop everything.
Yeah.